So we got the news a little bit earlier today with the Cleveland Browns trading for Jerry Jeudy in exchange for a 2024 5th and 6th round pick per Adam Schefter. And for this one, this was definitely tons of speculation, throughout the whole process so far, the offseason with, up in the air, what's going on with the Denver Broncos, with them kind of rebuilding in a way, getting rid of Russell Wilson, uncertainty with Courtland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. And for this one, Jerry Jeudy is the first piece after Russell Wilson, at least for the receiving core, to be gone. We don't know what's going to happen with Sutton. I'd be very surprised if they did let him go, but I guess I could also see with the cap problems they may have, or just having a tough time, maybe trying to extend him. He could be out the door as well, but I doubt it. For this one, I understand with Jerry Jeudy with I guess really some of his career, just a disappointment. Not entirely all his fault, but definitely overall we could probably say a swing and a miss. Do I want to go as far as to say he's an absolute bust? No, but I would say he's no doubt a massive disappointment for what he was coming out of college, and Alabama was touted as one of the best wide receivers out in the draft class. Amazing route runner, and we saw him in college how electrifying he was, how great he was in his tenure there. And then once he got to Denver, it didn't click. If we kind of look at his stats through his first 4 years, has yet to reach 1,000 yards in his career. The closest was in 2022 when he had 67 receptions for 972 yards and 6 touchdowns. It looked like he looked like he was going to, he turned the corner after 2 decent seasons. His rookie year wasn't that bad either compared to the third year. His rookie year, 52 receptions for 856 yards, 3 touchdowns, dropped back down to 467 and 0 touchdowns in 21. And we just, of course, discussed 2022, his height for this year, or for his career, I should say. And then for this past season, only had 54 receptions for 758 yards, 2 touchdowns. And again, it hasn't lived up to what he's supposed to be. Again, he was a phenomenal route runner, great hands. Was, again, once again, touted as one of the best wide receivers coming out of his draft class in 2020. It just didn't click. And not all his fault there. The first 2 years, I mean, we've seen what's going on with the organization, with Russell Wilson, the decision with that, deciding to take $85 million in dead cap by releasing him. And we've seen decisions after decisions, even going as far as say after the Super Bowl win in 2015, with just not being able to land a franchise quarterback, not being able to get the right coach. John Elway definitely has a big part, play in this, with just making bad decisions after decisions. They thought they got their franchise guy in Drew Lock. It didn't work out there. Again, I don't think it's all his fault entirely. We just seen the process of how the Broncos are at developing and getting things right. Not saying that Drew Lock was anything amazing, was supposed to be an amazing quarterback. Definitely had the physical tools, potential to be, but I kind of view the similar situation as Zach Wilson with, just not a great organization. So again, not all on Jerry Jeudy's, fault entirely with that. Once Russell Wilson came in, it seemed like he started to even out a little better. Like I said, Russell Wilson's first year there, he had 972 and 6 touchdowns. Took a little bit of a step back this past season. In his career total, he has 211 receptions for 3,053 yards, 11 touchdowns. But still, it's not good enough. It's not good enough for the 15th overall pick in 2020. And this is something that they, definitely a huge disappointment. Don't want to go as far as say a massive bust like Henry Ruggs with other situations, the reason why I factor it in, but definitely a huge disappointment with Jerry Jeudy there. So looking at his contract, they do have only his 1 year left on his deal, a 5th year option, which is he will receive $12.9 million this upcoming season on his 5th year option. And of course, Cleveland afterwards have to decide what they want to do, if they want to extend him. Maybe if he plays amazing, I want to throw a franchise tag. I doubt that, but I mean, if he just blows up and has an absolute phenomenal season, again, I don't expect that, but that is on the table if they have to keep him, or maybe they can get him for a cheaper deal, or the other possibility is they just let him walk because they gave away little to nothing. I mean, pretty embarrassing to give up a 5th and 6th round pick for a 15th overall pick in his draft class, but that is what the price tag is going to be for the Cleveland Browns this year, $12.9 million on his 5th year deal. And looking at where the Cleveland Browns are, at least for their cap situation on SpotTrack, it did update because I see some of the numbers are a little bit different. The Cleveland Browns are just barely above the line of being under the cap. They only have $627,000 to work with, and again, definitely other moves they got to do as well. But no doubt, this is the obvious one is this being a bigger than just Jerry Jeudy. It's to surround Deshaun Watson, and I think you can almost view this video in a way as kind of a Deshaun Watson video. It's trying to sell to the people like, hey, we want to make this Deshaun Watson deal work. We have to, with the money, all the draft picks we sunk into him. Again, the fully guaranteed deal, it has to work out, because so far the Deshaun Watson experiment has been a disaster. It seemed like he was starting to figure out after the Baltimore game, but unfortunately got hurt with a shoulder injury and was out for the rest of the year. Joe Flacco was able to come in towards the end and at least steer the team into the playoffs. But overall, the main goal is to make the Deshaun Watson deal work. They have to sell to the fans, to the NFL, maybe even to themselves. Maybe they have some doubts of their own of, was this a good idea? And this is definitely trying to add another playmaker to Deshaun Watson, because you look at the other weapons he has around him. David Njoku had a phenomenal year this year, 81 catches for 882 and 6 touchdowns. Amari Cooper had another phenomenal season, 72 receptions for 1,250 yards, 5 touchdowns. Elijah Moore had a decent season too, on par to the numbers that Jerry Jeudy puts up. 59 receptions, 640 yards, 2 touchdowns. After that, there was a little bit of a drop-off from the receiving threat. You did have Tillman, who was banged up for a good portion of the year, only had 200, or should say most of the year, but definitely just didn't play a factor into the season. 21 catches for 224 and 0 touchdowns. So they got to add more pieces around them, and you're adding another first-round talent with Deshaun Watson on top of, we don't know what's going to happen with Nick Chubb, but I do expect him to bounce back and be the running back that he is shown to be through his career. But no doubt, this is just trying to add another weapon to Deshaun Watson's arsenal, trying to cash in right now because of the cap problems. I think they might have pretty soon with Deshaun Watson's deal. We don't know what's going to happen with Amari Cooper. Jerry Jeudy, and I'm focused on defense with Myles Garrett and all those people and so forth. So no doubt, it's just trying to do that, but also just try and keep up with the rest of the NFL, with other teams stacking up with wide receivers all across the board. I mean, we've seen years past the Kansas City Chiefs early on, with Joe Burrow having 3 phenomenal wide receivers, the Buffalo Bills adding talent. Again, it's an arms race to try and keep up with everyone else. But overall, it's, again, adding a first-round talent. He still has the capability. I think he can bounce back, and also, being banged up through the whole, through his career here and there. It's been unfortunate with that. But overall, again, it's the numbers aren't impressive. He has gotten a lot better. I mean, he definitely, I should say almost, basically played a full season, but definitely, has missed some time. Was it 8 games, I think, in his career he's missed, so not horrible, but definitely a little bit concerning with that. But in my opinion, for the trade, it's a low risk, high reward in my opinion. Again, it's a fifth and 6th round pick for a top 15 talent in his draft class. Why not? Why not give him the opportunity to come into Cleveland, get a fresh new start, playing with, you could argue, maybe the best quarterback he's had. I mean, it depends on what your arguments are between Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson at their states, say of their careers. But I mean, this is probably no doubt the best situation he's going to be in. Certainly the most talent he's been surrounded with offensively to help him. So I get why Cleveland did this. It's 5th and 6th round picks. I mean, could you get good talent, good value with those? Sure, but I think to take a huge shot at Jerry Jeudy, which, I mean, even I can speak for myself of how far the value has dropped. Where we looked at last season, where people thought, for some Bills radios stations saying that people were saying, hey, throw a first round pick to get Jerry Jeudy, whatever it takes to get wide receiver talent. I was not one of those people. I thought that was insane. That we were having a discussion of people suggesting throwing a first round pick for Jerry Jeudy. Now you see the value, severely drop. Whether that first round talk was actually legitimate or was actually had some basis to it, I'm not sure. But we see how teams view him as a 5th and 6th round pick. He, again, not horrible, but just hasn't lived up to what the expectations of what he's supposed to be. So for the Browns side of it, I don't mind it. Again, so it's essentially you're signing him to a 1-year deal prove it deal. What is he gonna do for you? Worst case scenario, you get 2 late round picks. They're gonna be here and gone, and then worst case scenario, you just kind of put your hands up and you let them walk. So Browns wise, it's a good trade. For the Broncos perspective, it's unfortunate. It's sad because again, back in 2020 he was a top 15 pick, and the fact that it just hasn't worked out there with the expectations, and also too just the return from a top 15 pick to getting 5th and 6th round picks for him. It's upsetting. It's not because of contracts, because he has such a severely high cap hit for the season or what it may be. I know, of course, this is his final year on his deal, so you have to get something before he walks. Because I'm sure the Broncos probably wouldn't have re-signed him if they kept him after this year, or kept him on the team for this year. But it's just unfortunate for the Browns. Once again, what I said earlier, and what I kind of talked about or at least when I viewed the Russell Wilson scenario, what I just said earlier in the video with. It's just been dysfunctional. The decisions after decisions of what they make and the wrong turns they keep deciding on. It's upsetting. It's in a way, just looking at it from an outside perspective, it's just frustrating to see that, especially a team that their last playoff win was their Super Bowl win in 2015, and the fact that if you told Broncos fans after that Super Bowl win, this is what's going to happen from 2016 to now in 2024, you're not going to have any winning seasons. You're not going to make the playoffs. Not going to have a franchise quarterback, dysfunctional, bad choices left and right, and it's. I'm sure no one would believe you. Even non-Broncos fans would even believe you with that. Just the way of how the franchise has been in those few years with Peyton Manning, with all the talent they had. Even though at the end of Peyton's career, they still had the talent to do something. Unfortunately, no. And this is just one of many examples and decisions that just hasn't panned out. The other one too is Bradley Chubb back in 2018. Traded him last year for a first round pick, another high pick for the Denver Broncos. It just didn't pan out. Top 5 overall pick for Bradley Chubb. I mean, at least I got a first round pick out of him, but I mean, still just not being able to get things done. And once again, we're on the quarterback side of it too, of who's going to be the guy there. Are they going to have to trade up and throw more assets into the hole to trade up and get someone? Can they sign somebody? Who else is out there? So for Jerry Jeudy, for the Broncos perspective, it's horrible. It's whatever you want to call it, a D, an F. I know you had to get something out of him, but it's going. I keep saying over and over again, going from a top 15th pick to 5th and 6th round picks in exchange. It's unfortunate. So I had to give him grades. Broncos, I'll give him a D. At least it got something. I understand they had to get something out of him before potentially he walks. For the Browns, I give it an A. It's a low risk, high reward scenario. Best case scenario is you're able to sign into a decent extension long term. Worst case scenario is you threw away late picks to try a 1 year thing.